so welcome everyone to our coding and programming robots session. So because there's only a few of you today, we have a good chance to play around with it, which will be fun. So to start with, I'm going to get you to grab an iPad. Okay, we've got a couple here. I might have to share one. And I want you to go to a program called Daisy the Dino. This is going to be your introduction to programming. This is something you can do with a prep class, right? So open up Daisy the Dinosaur, and you've got play mode or challenge mode. Just go to the free play mode. Okay, so you'll have something like that up there. Do you think you can guess what you have to do here? Have a look at the commands. Click on the command and see what happens. Yeah, you drag them over, okay. So just drag the commands over into that box. Just drag a couple in. And then when you've got a few in there, press play. You just programmed your dinosaur to do something. Right? And then at the top there's two pink ones, repeat 5 and when. Okay, drag one of those in if you haven't already. And then you'll see it gets a little bit next to it. So you drag whatever you want to do into that part. Okay, and then play it again. Okay, so this is pretty simple programming, but this is programming. And you can imagine that you could use this in much the same way if you came to our session last week on iPad storytelling. You could use this in a very similar way. So there is actually a challenge section there. If you've got time later on, go back and have a look at it. I'm pretty sure this is a free one, I can't remember. But there's a challenge section in there where it says things like make Daisy walk forward, make Daisy turn, that kind of thing. But essentially, if you can understand this, you're not going to have any trouble with the programming we're doing today, because this is the basics of it. And the other thing is, you can see as it's playing, it highlights the commands, so you can sort of see where it's up to in there as well. That's a good one to go home and start with. Here's another one which I don't think is on there. This one's called Scratch Junior. So I'm pretty sure this is a free one as well. If not, it's only a couple of dollars. So you just click on the home button. Okay, we're going to start a new project, so I'll click on the plus. So this one's a step up from the last one. Here's my character, okay, and I've got a whole bunch of commands down the bottom here. The yellow one is the start one, so when something happens. So I'm going to choose the when I click on the green flag. Okay, when I click on the green flag, and then I have to figure out what's going to happen. So when I click on the green flag now, I've got to look at the blue commands. I've got like walking ones, walk forward, or turn around, something like that. So I'm going to click on the green flag and see what happens. Okay, not much. I'm going to make him walk a bit further, so that one there I'm going to change to a 10, and that one there I'm going to change to a 20. Let's see what happens now. Oh, no, it doesn't. But I can play around with that, okay, to get him to do various things. This one is I can make him grow. Just change that one back to 3. And what happens? Okay, he got a bit bigger, and I can decide how many I want to make him bigger. Alright, so grow gets smaller. I don't know what the other ones are. This one's disappear, I think, so that one disappears at the end. Do a few things. I can make him say something, so I can either put in a pop that I've already got, or I can record my own thing. Good morning, everyone. And I can say good morning, everyone. Let's try it now. After he's disappeared. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so I might change my mind about that in this one. for example, if I wanted him to do something and then stop. So I might make him grow, I can grow and then wait. I don't know, 10 is enough. I don't think they're seconds, 10 somethings. And you can see that one there is a repeat. Or go back and do it 4 times, that one's it. Good morning everyone. And again, when it's playing, it highlights each step so you can see what you're doing. Okay, and this end one means finish. Okay, so I can either just put a finish on or I can put a repeat on, so it will do the whole thing all over again. Okay, let's go back and put this on. And I might actually put the pop inside it. So it'll pop 4 times. Right, now let's see what happens. Oh, it's supposed to keep going. Oh, it's not doing that. Good morning, everyone. And then we'll go back and do it again. Okay, so it's just a step up from the last one. It's just a little bit more difficult, but it also gives you a lot more control. So the kids really like that one because they can get to do all kinds of things. And then I can, so that might be my first page, my first thing that I do, because I can put backgrounds in it. So maybe they start off in the park. Okay, and I can change my cat, so maybe I'm going to make his head red or give him a moustache or something, okay, or do all kinds of things with him. And then I can add somebody else that maybe he wants to talk to someone. Maybe there's a chicken. And maybe my chicken has circle. Colour it in a bit. No, it's not very good. It's supposed to be blue. There we go.
That's perfect.
There's nice. I'm going to put him here and here. And then I might say, in this second scene, okay, here's another, oh no, I'll go back to my first scene, and what can I do here? This is what my cat's doing at the moment. There's one here where they can talk to other people. Oh, it's at the start here, so when. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this flag, and I'm not going to say it's when the flag starts, it's when he runs into another person. So I might actually need 2 lines of code here. When it starts, he walks in that direction for, I don't know, how long do you think it will take him to get there? 4 steps, you reckon? Let's try, let's see what happens. Anyway, play around with it. I was playing around with it before and he walked into the. Good morning, everyone. Something. Okay, so this is the next level up, Scratch Junior. Okay, these 2 are both on the iPad, so fun to play with. Now we're going to go a little bit further up. I'd still say this is primary school. That was called Scratch Junior. This is the next step up, but also Scratch, so same kind of thing. And that's the address there, scratch.mit.edu, and MIT made this to teach kids how to program. So when you get in there, there's a couple of options. I'll show you two of them. So the first one is this try it out one. And you'll see when we have a look at this, it's kind of similar to the last one we just played. So here's our screen with our little person on it. And then here's all the commands, and then this is where you put the commands. So we have the same kind of thing. You have to start off with an event, when something happens. So let's say when the green flag is clicked, what will happen? Okay, they will move forward 10 steps, and I can change that number to whatever I like. And then they will turn or whatever they're going to do. And so let's have a look through here. They can say hello for 2 seconds. So there's all kinds of things here. They can change costumes. Sometimes you can have two characters, and then they'll change over. Okay, so you can swap it to another character. So this is called a sprite. So you can change. You'll have a few sprites here, and you can change the sprite. So let me see if I can get another sprite. Do we want an apple? Okay, there's an apple there. And then what happens here? So we've got when clicked, move 10 steps. Play a sound. Hey, where was that one that was said say hello before? Oh, there it is, say hello. That was looks, wasn't it? Sound. Switch costume to apple. Okay, so turn into an apple. Let's see if this works. Oh, they both say hello. I think that would have to be there. But you can see that it's just really messing around. And this is what a lot of programming is. What happens if I do this? What happens if I do that? What happens if I play a drum beat for 0.25 beats? Okay, so there's all kinds of, you just really have to play with it. I'm not a genius at these things. Oh, there's the costumes there. And sounds. So you can record your own ones, see, so you could record something else that you wanted to say, and then you would save it as another name, and then you would make them say this other thing instead. Costumes, you can take photos, so you could put yourself in there, or the kids can put themselves in there. Scripts. So it's just a matter of mucking around with it until you get what you want. There's backgrounds down there that you can put in. So there they are in a playground. Okay, and then you just play along and whatever happens. There's a drum beat. Okay, so that's sort of the next level up from that. And all this kind of stuff, I'd say primary school, it's all primary school level. Another good thing about Scratch, if you go back to the front page, is that they have, I'll just go back to the front page here. See here it says see examples. So see examples is you can see things other kids have made. So here's an example. So someone made this one called Dance Party. Click on the green arrow. All right, so that's good for the kids to see. But then see inside, you can actually see what it was. Okay. So you can see what they've done to make it happen. So you can learn off what other people have done. So the kids spend ages looking at other people's ones, and they learn, oh, they made it dance by doing this, so they learn that little bit, and oh, they made the music come on by doing this, and then they end up creating their own because they've looked at somebody else's. So you don't have to necessarily be any good at this, right? So you don't, as a teacher, you don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do it and so I can't teach it, because it really isn't about teaching you do this and then you do this. It's about getting students comfortable with playing around with things like this and letting them know that this is programming, because programming sounds really scary. People think, oh, I can't do programming, but actually it's not that hard to do. So this one, yeah, Game Maker. So this is what it looks like when you open it up. And this is all just information that you don't really need, so I'll just hide that. If I start a new file, so file new, then it starts to look a little bit more like Scratch, which we saw before. Remember I told you that little cat is called a sprite? That's what they call them. So here we have an empty game. There's nothing in here. We're going to make a game. So the first thing we need to do is to make some sprites. So this little red button here, that looks like Pac-Man, is create a sprite. Now it's already got a whole lot of things on there, so I can just go to load sprite. I'm going to go and find one. And what do I have as a sprite? I can look through here. They have, just go up one, okay. Space, maybe that's a space sprite. So when you download this, it downloads a whole lot of images for you, maybe like a UFO, okay. And I'll call my sprite. So once you've got the sprite, it appears up the top here. Right, now it isn't really, it can't do anything except just be a picture until I make it into an object. So I go down to this one here, objects, and I right click on that, it says create object, and then I can choose the UFO. So now I've got a sprite and an object. Now I might want a few more things, maybe I'm going to make a game. So I'll also, what's a new sprite I can get? I might have a rocket. Okay, so I can call this one rocket. Sprite. And I think in my game I'm going to make the rocket crash into the UFO and explode. So I want an explosion as well. There's a good explosion in Maze. Let's have a look. So explosion strip. So this one actually, you'll see when it comes up, it's like a GIF, it plays through a few things. Explosion. Okay, so I've got three sprites, my UFO, my rocket and my explosion. And I want to make them all into objects. So I'll just go and find my rocket. This one. And I will get my explosion. So now I've got three sprites, so much like that cat. Okay? And I can make the sprites do things like I did with the cat. But this one I also have to put in a background, which is called a room. So I need to create a room. There's my room. At the moment, not a very interesting room. I can put in some backgrounds. So I could take a picture and put it in and that would come up as the background. But at the moment, it's just a plain room. We'll just leave it as a room. So I want to put my UFO on the screen. There it is. And I'm going to make my UFO do something. So I need to go back to my object and I say properties. So this is where I tell my object what it's going to do. And in much the same way that the other one we had to say when you click on the green flag or when you run into someone, we have to do that here as well. So this is called create. When you're created, I want you to, what will I get to do? I want you to move in that direction at a speed of 10. Let's see what happens. So all I've done now is I've put my object in the room and I've told it I want it to move in one direction at a speed of 10. How do I test it to see if it works? I just click on this play button and then we'll see what happens. And again, this is the thing you learn where you just have to keep trying it and then say, oh, that didn't work, I must try something different, or that didn't work. See, it flew off the screen, but I didn't tell it what to do when it went off the screen. So I have to go back, and now I say, please, okay, event. So this one. When you hit the boundary, I want you to wrap around. I'm going to say in both directions. Okay, and now let's see what happens. Now it comes around again. Right. So now let's put my rocket in. Let's put my rocket. Oops. Rocket here. There's my rocket. And I want my rocket to be able to move. So I'm going to give it some instructions. I'm going to say to my rocket, please, when I click the left button on my keyboard, I want you to move, so it works on the X and Y axis. So if I want you to go left, right, you're going that way, so it's minus 10, say whatever, 10, 5, 2 on the X axis, and relative to yourself. Because if I just put in minus 10 there, it would actually go to the coordinate y equals 0, x equals minus 10. So if I say relative to yourself, it's just subtracting 10 every time, so that's all way to go. And then when I click the right key, I want you to forward relative to yourself. When I click the up key, I vaguely recall that there's something backwards about this. I think I actually have to say minus 10. We'll soon find out, won't we? And when I click the down key, I move up and down the y-axis. Okay, let's see what happens. Can I move it? Oh, yes, I can. Okay, so using my keyboard, I can get it. So what I want to do is I'm going to try and hit that UFO. All right. But when I hit it at the moment, I'll just go straight through it. So I need to do something else. I need to say to my rocket. Oh, actually, what's going to blow up? My rocket or the spaceship? I think the spaceship's going to blow up, isn't it? Properties. Collision. Okay, when you collide with the rocket, when the rocket runs into you, I want you to, okay, so I haven't just got all these move ones, I've got other ones as well here. There's a few, there's timing, there's, you can give your characters lives, you know how in games you get lives and points and things like that, health. I'm pretty sure it's this one here, change sprite, yep. So when you hit the rocket, I'm going to get you to change from a UFO into an explosion. Okay. Let's see what happens now. Ah, it turned into an explosion, but it kept moving. I don't want it to keep moving, so I'm going to say again to this one. Okay, when you hit the rocket, you're going to change into an explosion, and then what's it going to do? I think it's going to go back to where it started, and I guess it'll have to change back again into itself, isn't it? So we can keep playing something like that. Let's see what happens. So I needed to put time in there. I needed to get it to wait because it happened so fast we couldn't even see it. So back to my object, properties. Rocket, is it timing? It's only timing. So, it's an alarm. So I must be sleep 1,000 seconds. I'm going to make that up. Let's see this one next. Getting closer.
What most impressive is the explosions.
Well, I can put sound in. See, there's sounds there.
You made it bigger.
You could make it bigger. It's just your sprite. Okay, so if you want a bigger sprite, you can change it. So if I go up to my sprite here, properties, I can change my sprite. See, at the moment, it's only a certain size. I can change the size. I can put in different images. We can play with all those things. Okay, so it's just the same thing again, but it's just a step further on. So once you've played with Scratch or Days of the Dinosaur, you get really good at mucking around and saying, well, that didn't work, what if I try this? That didn't work, what if I try this? And especially with the Scratch Junior on here, where you can look at the other ones that other people have made, then you can say, oh, that's how you do that, and then you get to learn how to do it that way. I'm not an expert at programming, but I've done programming with students at school and they love it. They really enjoy it and they'll spend hours, and they learned it way faster than I did because they were really happy to get in there and kind of, you know, enjoyed spending ages on it, whereas I might just get frustrated and say I don't do that anymore. But I've seen some fantastic things made by kids.
Do they do that as part of ICT or?
No, well, mine did it in English, actually. They were doing it in English because they had to write instructions, so they were writing instructions for a game, so they made the game and then they wrote the instructions for it. So this kind of in game making, you can do things like so one of them, for example, had a kind of a maze, so they made it so you couldn't go through walls, and you had to go through this maze, and then when you hit something, you would go to another page, and then that was a different background and everything, and then they had to explain that at the start, there's a screen that they can put up there that has all the instructions on it, so the instructions had to be clear enough that other kids could do it. And then we had a game on day where we just went, we've got a room full of computers and all the kids put their computers on there, and all the other kids came in at lunchtime and they got to play them. And then they interviewed them and said, how did you find my game? Was it easy to use? So there's a lot of stuff you can do with it. It's not just in IT. It's really up to the teacher. If you're willing to have a go at something a bit different, then you can use it in anything. It doesn't have to be in. Because I think it really lends itself to English very, very easily. But also, you can make all kinds of simulations and stuff on there too. Like you can imagine making a volcano exploder doing that, or what happens when. So you have a lot of science stuff you could do on there as well. Okay, so those programs that I've showed you so far, they're all called object-oriented programming. And there's another page here, and it's got a good little video on it that really explains object-oriented programming really well. This is code.org, and one of my kids when he was in IT in year 9. They sent him to this page not to do this particular I'm going to show you, but because if you have a look on here, okay, this first thing here is what we were doing, and I'll show you the video for that in a second. So this is object-oriented programming. And then it gets on to, see, you can see, it looks familiar, doesn't it? Now you've seen that kind of thing, you have an idea what it is. But it moves on to other types of programming as well. So there's JavaScript. This one here is doing programming without the computer. I don't know if have you ever done that at school? The usual one is they make a peanut butter sandwich. Did you do that on Christian? Where they say one person's the computer and the other one's the programmer. And the person who's the computer can only do what the programmer tells them to. And so you have to, like the person who's being the computer, it's usually the teacher, has to be really, really pedantic about what they're going to do. And so they say, for example, stick your knife in the peanut butter or whatever, and so they stab it in the side of the peanut butter. And it's like, no, in the top. So you have just showing them that you have to be really specific with computers, and one tiny little mistake will wreck it. So you have to be really, really specific, and you have to be prepared to go back and debug your programs and that can work. There's that one. Making apps for phones or tablets here. Using different languages, making your own apps and games. So there's lots and lots and lots of things here that students could use. But have a look at this video. This is obviously designed for primary school kids. They had this thing called an hour of code where they were trying to get everybody to code. So sound up on here.
I was in 8th grade when I learned to program. I got my first computer when I was in 6th grade. What gets me excited is being able to fix people's problems.
You can express yourself, you can build things from an idea.
Computer science is the basis for a lot of the things that college students and professionals will do for the next 20 or 30 years.
I like programming because I like helping people. If I get the opportunity to build something that's going to make people's lives easier.
I think it's the closest thing we have to a superpower. Getting started is the most important part.
I'm going to figure it myself, and I'm working you to learn with me.
Hi, my name is Lindsay. I majored in theater in college, but I also majored in computer science. And now I model, act, and write my own acts. Let's use code to join Anna and Elsa as they explore the magic and beauty of ice. uses visual blocks that you can drag and drop to write programs. This is how even university students learn the basics. Under the hood, you're still creating code. The concepts that you'll be learning are what computer programmers use every day and are the foundations of computer science. A program is a set of instructions that tells a computer what to do. Let's build a code for a program that will help Elsa create a simple line. We will use...
Okay, we won't go through the whole thing. But I really like it in there how they lift up the hood of the buttons and show you that it's the code underneath it, because sometimes you think, well, this isn't really programming, I'm just moving buttons around. But it is, it really is programming. It's just that there's one step in between. So somebody has said, when you press this button, follow this code. Yeah, so it makes it less daunting.
It's really no different from selecting our cut and pasting bits of code.
Exactly, yeah. And actually with GameMaker, you'll find if you use that one, as the kids get more into it, there is an option to see the code. And so kids will make it do something and then they can see the code underneath. And they say, oh, I see, when I pressed this button and when I made it do this, it actually wrote this kind of code. And then they actually learn it. And you're exactly right, they just say, oh, I wanted to do that thing that it did in that other game, so I'm just going to copy and paste that code straight into here because I know that that's what it does. So it's really good. So there's all those ones. There's lots and lots of programs. This other one, I'm just going to quickly show you, is from a program called Alice, which was designed specifically for girls. And it's just more, it just has more options that are a bit more girly about it. And students just make their own, it's a bit, I don't know, a little bit more cartoony looking, because they found the girls weren't really getting into the game making. The boys loved that kind of game making thing. No, you can still make games in Alice, but it's a bit more of an animation type thing. It's a bit harder. Alice is a bit harder to use. Okay, so they're all object-oriented programming. I'm noticing that I'm running out of time. I just want to show you this other one as well. This one's called crunchzilla.com, and this is the Code Monster. And this is starting to teach code, but it's pretty easy. So you just click up the top here and it tells you what to do. So, for example, see the number 50? Can you change it to 150? So I just change this to 150. Oh, it changes the size of the box. Okay, what do you think the other numbers do? So I can click on the other numbers and change certain things, okay? I'm not going to go through it all, but I went through it before to show you the kind of things that it does. So it does things like, one of these things is it teaches you how to draw a tree. Okay, so it's pretty cool how it goes. So it teaches you using code. It's a step by, so if you look at the code now, it looks really complicated, but it started off saying, put a 1 here, what does that change? Or that's what this number does. And then it goes on to things like getting balls to bounce on the screen. And by the time you've got to the end, which I reckon takes about half an hour, you have a really good understanding of what all these things mean. This is another one that's really good. Okay, this is just the Google search page, but it looks a little different, doesn't it? Okay, one of my kids showed me how to do this. So any page you go to, so this is what Google normally looks like. If you right-click on it and you go down to Inspect Element, it shows you the code for the page underneath there, and you can play around with it. So if I go down here and I say, right, I'm going to change that, I'm going to change images to say something else. So I can just go down at this bottom and put Control F, which is the font function, and I'm just going to type in images. Okay, and it tells me down the bottom here, there are 7 ones that are called image. Now, I looked through here just a little bit before, and I know that when it has these 2 little greater than, less than signs on either side, that means it's the name. Okay, so if I click on that, I'm going to change that to Amber. Okay, and it's changed to Amber at the top. And then for this particular line that I'm on, over here are all the rules about it. So what's this going to be? So it tells me that's what colour it is. Well, what if I want to change the colour? I'm going to change the colour to red. Okay. And then what else? Maybe I'm going to change, I don't know what line height is. I'm going to change the line height and see what happens. Okay, it's moving it down a bit. And then what else? maybe instead of being on the right, I'm going to change it to the left. But, and you don't have to know what these things are, because nothing bad happens. Oh, okay. Nothing bad happens because as soon as I reload the page, it all goes back to normal. Okay, it's just mucking around with it. But the idea of things like this code monster and being able to inspect them is just to get kids comfortable, and yourself, comfortable with these things. Because my kids only showed me this morning. I said, I have to do anything on programming, what can I do? And they said, oh, do this, this is really good. And I spent like about 15 minutes before you guys came in mucking around with it, saying, oh, what happens if I do this, what happens if I do that? And you learn so much stuff, and you feel so much more comfortable with it. So that's a good one. Okay, now we're starting to run out of time, so we'll talk about the robots now. So I've got a couple of Lego Mindstorms things here. And we're just going to quickly look at these because a lot of schools have Lego Mindstorms, so there's a good chance you'll be able to play with some. And so the school one, it might not look like this. This is the latest version one. These are two old ones that I had at home. But they come, it's just Lego, right? And all normal Lego fits onto it as well, so you don't have to have any special Lego. But this one brick here sort of makes it move. And you have a variety of little sensors that go with it. So if you have a look up here, there's 3 motors that can go into it, and if you look on any of these, you can see those little orange bits, the motors, so they'll turn a wheel or turn a cog or something. Then you've got this ultrasonic sensor which senses distance, how far something is away from something else. You've got the colour sensor, this is the colour sensor. And these are the touch sensors. And there's also, oh, I can't see it there, there's a sound sensor as well. You don't have to plug them all in at the same time, you just use whatever you like. So today I've got a sound sensor on this one. This one's just to make it look cute, so it looks like it's got eyes. This one detects the distance away something is, and this one here has the colour sensor on it. Okay. So they also come with instruction booklets. And really, it tells you how to build it and how to program it. You don't have to know how to do anything to use these. And I'm just going to show you a couple today so you can get an idea of how you use it. So I think we'll start off with, this one, I think. Alright, so after you've built it, there's 2 different ways of, 3 ways actually of programming it. So you turn it on just using this orange button. And the first way is it gives you instructions in the book. Right? So when you click on this, have a look at the book so you can see that. Okay, it tells you to go, so you just use these arrows and go across. There's one there. Looks like some little boxes. If I click on that, click again, and then these are a list of instructions, and I just click through and say whatever I want. So I'm going to say, I'll follow that one. Okay, so the first one is this term, so I'm going to do that. The second one says microphone. Okay, so microphone. The next one is the other way. Microphone again. What do you think this is telling it to do?
It's moving with these steps as well.
Yeah, so it says move, and then when you hear a noise, move, and then when you hear a noise, and then repeat it. Okay? It's stuck on the...
The wheel's not working properly.
Oh, it might be the car that Okay, the next way you can program it is you can actually connect it to the computer. And this is what the computer program looks like. And it'll kind of remind you of all those other programs that we've looked at so far. So we want to start a new program. Right, so here's our new program. And these are the blocks down here that we just drag and drop in the same way that we did with the other things. But it's a little bit more complicated, so Lego has kindly given us all the instructions down the side here. So common palette means if you want to do any of these things, this is how you do it. So just say we want to drive forward. So it's going to show me how to do that. So if I want to drive forward, okay, I've got 4 steps. First I have to drag that cog thing over here. Alright. Then I have to make sure all the settings look like this. So I go down and check all the settings, C, B. Right. Then I press play. I'll plug it in first. So I can plug in. Okay, so it moves forward, so I know that that works. Alright, so you can see it's the same kind of deal. You've got all these blocks here, you just have to play with them, figure out how to get them there, and then it will do whatever things are, and it will detect different things. So this one, I'll just show you this. This one follows, so this one is supposed to follow a black line, so it will detect using this black and white. So let's see if this one works. Put on the line. So you can see, and I've also seen this one used to sort colour. So there's 3 different colour balls. You might have seen different colour balls in there, and it can sort them out. And then this one, I think that we might have seen this one before because I had this one. This one uses the distance. So this detects the distance, and depending on where it is, it plays different sounds. So and this is the thing for it, so we've got to run it. Okay, so you can hear it. Yeah. So I didn't program those. I programmed those by downloading it from a website. So I'll show you the website for this as well. So you can do it on here, that first one I showed you. You can do it using this program, but you can also do it if you just Google this. So this particular one is the NXT Mindstorm. So I just Googled Lego Mindstorms projects. And then there are lots and lots of different places you can go to get them. I think this is the one I went to get those. Yeah. And so there's a few different kinds. So this is the box that we've got there. I think this was the one I used. And it's got free project instructions there. And then it's got a list of all the projects down here. What do you want to do? Okay, so we had an electric guitar. And then my kids played with it, so it doesn't look quite the same as that. But it gives you the instructions like normal Lego does. So this is the pieces you need, and this is how you put them together. And then once you've got all that, you've got the whole thing together, it gives you the actual files that you need. Okay, so you can just download the files, and it goes into this program. You plug your thing in, and it downloads the whole thing. Okay, so lots of different things you can do with them. You can see how you can use these kinds of things in science as well, to be about light, for example, or working out, you can do maths, working out distance and that kind of thing. So you could use them for quite a few things. But the main thing is to think about using them because teachers don't. And it's something that students need to learn right from prep, is something like this. And certainly as time goes on, it's becoming more and more important to understand how to make your own app on your phone or fiddle with a program and change it to the way you like it.